Alright, what is up you guys, your boy back, and today we will be going over all the 131 moves that will be getting a balance patch during the upcoming free update for DLC Pack 7. But before I start with the video, I just gotta give a huge shout out to Vamplosion because he's the one that translated all this. He took his time to translate all 131 moves, which I think probably took a lot of time. So huge shout out to him. I'll leave his Reddit page down in the description, or in fact I'll leave this link down in the description if you guys want to check out the moves that will be getting buffed by yourselves. So now to the video. So not a lot of moves will be getting nerfed like what we thought. It's more like all the weaker moves, those are getting a buff to match the moves that were already pretty much OP. So there's a lot of moves that are getting buffed and not nerfed. I'm pretty sure there's only like a couple moves in this translation that are actually getting a nerf, and those are like the pure cancer cheese ones. And since this is 131 moves that we'll be going over, I will just be going over the ones I want to talk about, you know, and then towards the end of the video I have like a slideshow of all the 131 moves and the description of the moves if you guys want to see that. But I'm just going over some of the moves that I want to talk about really. So starting off with the first one, Kamehameha. So not just this move, but a lot with mostly all the other beam attack moves. So not just Kamehameha, this goes under the Gallic Gun and Kaioken Kamehameha. So it increases speed of Ki Blast, made enemy easier to hit after attack connects. So what that means is pretty much after a knockback, you'll be able to use this move and it will land. And this goes, like I said before, for all beam attacks, mostly all of them. Bending Kamehameha. This one's number 2 on the list, so the damage is increased for this, and also the tracking for this is also increased. So I think that's pretty awesome. You'll be able to bend the beam even more, or the tracking will be better, just like how it is in anime. So that's pretty dope. Now Spirit Bomb number 3, increase the tracking of returning Ki Blast and also increase the time until the returning Ki Blast disappears. So when you throw it and if you miss, when it comes back, the tracking on it will be way better. But not only that, when it does come back, it'll take longer to disappear, so it probably has a better chance to hit your opponent. And I kind of like this move even more now because since the tracking is better when it comes back, your opponent pretty much has to watch out for the Spirit Bomb as well as you when you're still attacking him. So he's gonna have to time the Spirit Bomb perfectly for he doesn't get hit. So that's pretty dope what they're doing with Spirit Bomb. Riot Javelin, increase the speed of Ki Blast, also increase the damage of the blast when near death. So this one I think it could go 2 different ways. The first part, when it says increase the speed of Ki Blast, I think that means for the non-full power version, you know, when you're not near death, just for the normal Riot Javelin, because when you do throw that thing, it goes really slow. So I think they're talking about that one. And for the near death one, they increasing the damage on that, which is kind of cool but kind of weird because I already thought it did massive damage. So this one's getting a complete buff. And like I said before, I won't be going over all of them, just the ones I want to cover. And if you guys want to look at the whole list towards the end of the video, I have a screenshot of it. Rebellion Spear, slightly decreased damage, slightly decreased ki consumption rate. So this one's kind of like a mix of a buff and a nerf. So they did decrease the damage, but also the ki consumption rate, they slightly decreased that, so it won't take as much ki, so that's pretty cool. Wall of Defense, and he's not sure about this, but he thinks it changed so you don't take damage until just before the end of the move, change the idle time to be shorter. So I think what that means is, you know, after you use Wall of Defense, and you know how like Piccolo's all fatigued and tired, I think that part is where it's faster, but you can also get hit at that time. Not too sure, but that's what it sounds like. 17, Sonic Kick, increase tracking, increase range, increase the ability to connect after successful hits. So I'm glad they updated this move because, or buffed this move, because when you play online, when you use this move, not all attacks will hit after one another because due to the net code or just lag. So now they have a better chance of hitting hits after each hit. So I'm pretty hyped for that, and I think that's pretty cool. Kikohu Tri-Beam number 23. So this one is made it unblockable if charged, and also made it so there's no pause between the start of the attack and the charging part of the attack. So you know how you have to do 2 inputs for the normal attack and then add the extra input if you want to charge it to make it more powerful. So now you don't have to do that. I think what this means is that you can just hold down the button the input, and then it'll fully charge, and then you can just release it. So that's pretty cool. And also they made it unblockable. That's actually pretty dope. It did hold up against the second form cell, so it does kind of make sense that they have it unblockable. Aura slide. So this one, I'm pretty sure a lot of you want to know. This one actually did get a slight nerf. So this decreased damage of each hit. I believe there's like a total of 4 or 5 hits you can do with this. But this one is still, Aura slide is still, you know, kind of good, because it wasn't really the damage output it was given. It was more like you can connect attacks with it, you know, make your combo string longer and do infinite stuff like that. So I think that's where people wanted the nerf to come in, but the damage did get decreased, and it was decreased. It wasn't say slightly decreased, so that's pretty cool. It will be less painful to use, so I'm happy they did nerf Aura slide. Petrifying spit. Increase the time petrified after a hit. So if you get hit by the spit, you'll get stuck in the stone form for a longer time. You know, it's more like the anime, I guess. Atomic blast. I really like this move. So this one, it increases the damage, and also if you fire it from the ground, it increases ease of firing for max damage. So you know how this one, you can either just put out the input and it'll shoot out atomic blast, or you can charge it all the way and it's more like of an explosion atomic blast. And also, you know how you have to get the right timing, like release it at the very middle to get that max damage. Well, this, it's increased that part, so I think like it's easier to hit that middle point before you can do the max damage. So I think that's kind of cool. Crazy finger shot. So this one is kind of weird, because watch, it says increased damage makes your opponent stagger after a hit, and I do find this kind of more of a like buff, because the damage on this was already pretty good. It was actually insane, so they made it even stronger, so which is kind of weird. Drain field number 58. So this one, it's made it so it can absorb ultimate attacks, so I think that's really awesome. I think they should have done this more from the start of the game, but it's what it is. I do like how they're buffing it though, and it can absorb ultimate attacks. Now it can do which ultimate attacks it can absorb, because I don't think it could absorb every single one, but we'll see. Big Bang Kamehameha. So this one decreased the necessary amount of time needed to charge before the beam actually can be fired. So that's actually awesome. And also it increased the maximum amount of time the beam can be charged. So they shortened the charge time for this before it can be fired, so that's awesome. But it says increase the maximum amount of time the beam can be charged. So maybe you can charge this move more than once. I'm not too sure what that's saying right there, but that's dope. The making Big Bang Kamehameha a bit better. So Bluff Kamehameha. You can drain ki even if the attack is guarded. So if someone else is blocking it, and if you hit them with the move, it drains their ki, so that's actually pretty cool. Dragon Fist. So they made it so you cannot vanish counter out of the move, and I think that one's the ultimate, right? It's not Super Dragon Fist. They made it for you can't vanish. Wasn't that how it was to begin with? And then they nerfed it for you can vanish, but now they're making it so you can't vanish back again. I don't know, but that's kind of weird what they're doing with that. Super Spirit Bomb. Take damage during the charge up. You take health damage, not stamina drain. So that's actually kind of cool, I guess. You take damage during the charge up. I guess that makes sense, because every single time in the anime when Goku's charging his Super Spirit Bomb, he's at least taking damage somehow by Frieza or Kid Buu. So that's kind of funny how they did that. So your stamina doesn't drain, you just take damage. I'm pretty sure it's slight damage, but who knows. Time Skip Molotov. The damage for this has been increased, so that's pretty dope. Big Black Kamehameha. Super Black Kamehameha. Okay, so this is I think this is Goku's black move. Made it so you cannot escape from the move part way. So I think what that means is when you get punched by his fist when it first starts, and then when you fly away, you can't evasive out of it. So I think that's what that means. So this one, Super Rose Kamehameha. More damage, made Ningens filthier. That one's funny, but I'm glad they buffed this move, because Super Rose Kamehameha was, I think that did less damage than the original Goku Black Kamehameha, which didn't make sense at all. And I believe that was faster as well, but that didn't make sense because not only it's Super Saiyan Rose using it, but yeah, that's just weird to me. So Final Explosion. This one, it increases damage, made it easier to hit, and also decreased stamina consumption when holding the input down. So you can use this for a longer period of time, which I think is pretty awesome, and also again makes sense to the anime because they hold it down for quite a bit. Crusher Volcano made tracking better, made it more Australian. This translator is quite funny. And a lot more of these ultimates did just get a damage increase. Dual Destructo Discs. Now this is, I think, the first dual ultimate I've seen that's been getting a buff. So they improved the tracking because not every single Destructo Disc hits. So I'm glad they're doing that. It's pretty cool. Now this Spirit Sword, this is kind of weird, but made the first part unblockable. So when he first uses it and stabbed you in the chest, you can't block that anymore. And also made it impossible to counter out. And also made every hit easier to connect. So it does have 2 hits, I believe, when he swings it. Usually the second hit misses, but now they fixed that. Now you can be able to hit your opponent with it. And not also that, but this move has a limit burst. So this move is quite up there now. It's really good now. So now one-armed Kamehameha, the Mark II version. Additional input consumes less ki. It may use like 4 or 5 bars. I think that's what it's saying, because if you wanted to use full power, well, with Gohan at least, you have to fill up your whole ki bar, and then you'll be able to use it. I'm not sure what it is with custom created characters, but it does take less ki now, so that's awesome. And Dimension Ray, sped up during hit confirm, no pause during charge, made easier to combo into after a hit. So you can actually connect this into like a knockback. I think that's what that's saying. So they actually sped it up really fast. And now going over some of the transformations. So the Power Pole Master decreased idle time between steps, increased the damage needed to break you out of the move. So it sounds like it did get a buff, which is kind of cool. Now Turn Big, the Namekian thing. So this is the giant mode for Namekians. It decreased the amount of stamina that is drained after transforming, improved tracking on Demon Mouth Blast. So that's actually nice. I actually like this move. My very first custom created character was a Namekian. Purification, the transformation for Majins. No stamina decreased after transformation. Decreased amount of stamina used by dash attacks. That's kind of cool. And stamina drains when you block. So I didn't go over every single thing, but you can pause it throughout the video when I go over them. But I will have a slideshow at the end of the video. If you do want to read all this by yourselves, then go ahead. And also I'll leave the link down in the description below. So I'm hyped for this DLC free update. They're buffing a lot of moves to evenly out with the cancer ones already, so I think that's pretty awesome. We're getting a lot of damage increases and a lot of tracking is gonna be better, so this is cool. The updating 131 moves, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.